solving equations with decimals. Solving equations with decimals is very similar to solving equations with fractions. And that sometimes you think, I can do this just like it's written. Great, high five, good on you. And sometimes you look at this and say, no way, I want to get rid of the decimals. Great, let's do that. So when you're looking at your decimals, first identify how many terms do we have. So I've got 6.31, 3.5x, 1.7, and 5.23. So I have 4 terms. So whatever I'm going to do it to all 4 of them because equations are about equality. Now, I need to move the decimals and get them out of the way. So when you're looking at this, you can see, well, in the first one, I have 2 decimal places. I have 1 because 3.5, 1.7, 5.23. So you want to recognize the largest number, and that is 2. I have 2 decimal places. So if we think about this just kind of as an aside, if I have 2 decimal places and I multiply by 100, I pick 100 because 2 decimal places, 2 zeros. When I do that, I get 63,100, and then the 2 decimal places go whoop, whoop, and I end up with 631. The decimals go away. So when you're thinking about what do I do, how do I do this, remember, you've got to do the same thing to all of them. So you find the biggest number, and in this case, it's 2. And that means in each one of my terms, I want to multiply by 100, because that's the mathematical step. We want to multiply by 100, which simply means we're going to move the decimal 2 places in each term. So I'm going to end up with 631 plus 350x, because remember, 2 places. So if there's nothing in that second one, it's a 0. Equals, again here, 1, 2. So 170x plus 523. And maybe you're thinking, wow, that doesn't look a lot nicer. You're going to have a less likely issue of, dropping a decimal point if you don't have any decimals. So we move the decimal 2 places in all of them. Now we can solve. So my first step is going to be, I want to move all of the x's to the left, because that's kind of my thing a little bit. So if I have a positive 170x, I'm going to subtract 170x, and I'm going to rewrite what I have left. So 631 plus 180x equals 523. Now I'm ready to move my constants all the way to the right. So I've got 631. The opposite of that is to subtract 631. And I'm left with a positive 180x equals a negative 108. Because 631 minus 23 is 108. 631 is bigger, so it's negative. Now I am ready to do my last step, which is to divide by 180. And now you're like, do I need to reduce that fraction? And the answer is, of course. So if you're looking at 108 and 180, your brain might see the greatest common factor right away. Maybe it doesn't. My brain right away says they're both even. So I'm going to divide both of these by 2. So negative 108 divided by 2 is negative 54. And negative 180 divided by 2 is 90. Those are also both even. I'm going to divide by 2 again. This is exactly what I did on my paper when I did this problem. So negative 54 divided by 2 is negative 27. 90 divided by 2 is 45. Those are both divisible by 3. So now, negative 27 divided by 3 is negative 9. 45 divided by 3 is 15. For the love of Pete, those are both divisible by 3. And I end up with negative 3/5. Final answer. You might have seen right off the bat that these are both reducible by 36. That'd be great. If you didn't, you might have gone the long way like I did. But either way, we got there. All right, let's do one more a little bit, maybe quicker. How many terms do you have? 1, 2, 3. Again, when you have a number touching parentheses, that is the same as just having like 3x. It's a 3. It's touching another thing. That is one term. So when I look at the number of variable or the decimal places, I have a 2, 0.3 gives me a 1, 0.5 is a 1. So again, my largest decimal spot is a 2. So in each term, I'm going to move the decimal 2 places. So 1, 2 gives me 12. 1, 2 gives me 30 times x minus 5. 1, 2 gives me 750. Okay. I'm going to simplify the left side by distributing my 30. So 12 plus 30x minus 150. Next, I'm going to, well, I wrote this problem down wrong. On my paper, there's an x right here. So let's just, that makes the problem just a little bit nicer. Okay, so I have 12x plus 30x minus 150 equals 750. Because, yes, I always do these problems before I do them on paper, or on here. All right, so now I can combine like terms, which, sorry to say, there was an x there originally. So 12x plus 30x is 42x. I still have minus 150 equals 750. So this is the last thing I want to play with. So I'm going to add 150 to both sides. So 42x equals 900. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 42. At this time, you're probably thinking, well, 942, what goes into both of those? Well, you can see a few different things, but I see pretty clearly that they're both divisible by 3. So 900 divided by 3 is 300, and 42 divided by 3 is 14. Okay, well, those are both even, so now I can divide them by 2, and I get 150 over 7. And that is solving equations with decimals and variables. It's fun, extra x's and things.